Well, good morning. Welcome. Welcome back
Hello.
to many of these very familiar names, but
Holly.
welcome for the first time to some of you. My name is Courtney Caldwell, and I am I don't know, I can never remember my title, but I do the design at HLG and some project management and anything they'll let me because I love the work we do and the people we do it with. And Carol has been, this is her
Facilitation.
second week, second month back because Shannon, my usual partner in crime here, is on a sabbatical. So Carol, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I just happen to be the CEO of Henley Leadership Group. I'm also a executive coach and facilitator and uh, supposed manager of this amazing team that really self-manages and manages me.
And the greatest sub of all time when she goes when
Oh,
we say,
thank you.
Carol, we need you to come. So welcome. We're going to start today. Our new topic today, we wrapped up our series on the power of collaboration last month. And so I don't know about any of you, but change just seems to be in the air. It is in teams, it is in companies, it is in the world. It is so we thought that we'd spend today and the next few sessions talking about change a bit here. So, Sam, you want to get us started here? So the big why to this whole webinar series, which we're coming up, I think this is our 10th one. So we've been doing it for almost a full year now, and we're loving this time to connect with all of you. But in a world of complexity, which we will talk about today with change, we really want this to be a space of simplicity where we get to check in once a month to talk about something current and relevant, something that we're seeing emerging in our conversations with all of you, and something that's hopefully practical and applicable when you leave here. We know we like to go into the world with a next step. So way to participate. We're gonna have lots of chat questions today, so we love to hear from people in the chat. Sam sends the recording and incredible follow-up emails and resources, so please check those out. We always encourage you to learn with each other and with your own folks. Keep joining us. And then we always, we talk about honoring confidentiality in our workshops, but in our sessions, but we always, by that, we mean, what we don't mean is that you don't share your learning. We want you to go out and share with others what you are taking away. And then take one action.
Yeah. Bring your friends next month.
Yeah,
Change is a big deal for people.
it is.
And
And
it's
you can chat
free.
about it. And it's, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, how are you showing up today? Please feel free to answer in the chat. We'd love to hear how you're showing up today. And as a bonus check-in question, those of you who were here last month, did anyone try giving appreciation after we spent our session last time on voicing appreciation? So did we have anybody practice? I did, and I decided to do it in card format. I like to write notes, and I've gotten out of that habit. So I'm trying to get back in the habit of writing notes to people. So that's how I tried it last week.
We put this in the chat, right? Okay.
Yep, there we go. Appreciation verbally as kudos in meetings. Brandolyn, that's awesome. Oh, Renata's here from London. Anybody else? How are you showing up today? And did you try? Steady and ready. John, that's perfect. Oh, Ethan just sent an appreciation email. I like to do homework right under the wire too, Ethan. Just kidding. That's great that you did that. Oh, you sent some few recognitions last week without even knowing, Stacy. Yes,
Courtney
Ellen,
sent this card to me as one of her appreciations, said, "Thanks for hiring me. Hope you don't regret it." Not for a minute.
Oh, stepping into curiosity despite a feeling of blah today. I appreciate the rally, Steph, and the honesty. I think naming it sometimes is great. Alan, you do practice appreciate people daily. I do know that about you. Hi, Fran. Okay, welcome. Let's jump in. So, as I mentioned, today we're going to talk about change and transition. We are all experiencing change, and we're going to do this as a little series. So, our next 3 sessions are going to be focused on a variety of topics surrounding change. So, come back for more of that. I took a course called Polycrisis through what used to be Whiteness at Work, where they talked about essentially the change upon change upon change that we're seeing and what that does to each of us. So we thought it was important to bring that topic of change into this conversation. So today we're going to talk about William Bridges' transition model. We'll explore the three phases of transition that he identifies, and then try to apply that model in our personal and organizational contexts. So we're going to start today with a poll to get us into how do you usually react to change? So jump in there. Are you excited and motivated? Are you cautious but curious? Are you resistant at first? Are you overwhelmed? Change? What change? Or other? And if you pick other, please let us know in the chat what your other might be. Carol, how about you? How do you react to change typically?
Well, if I'm the one that's implementing the change, I'm excited about it. If it's happening to me, I tend to kind of freeze and need some time to grok the new world.
Okay, yeah. I would say I'm the same, although I think you and I have talked about this before, but change, I obviously like to be the boss of it. But if I'm not, and sometimes I'm like, okay, it's happening, whatever, I will kind of be change. What change? It's fine. And then at the end, sometimes I go, oh, that happened. That was kind of big. I think because I just kind of roll with change
Yeah,
until I don't. So that's something I think about.
I'm similar in that way. You are definitely like, okay, got it, onward to the
It
next.
happens.
And I'm a little bit like, wait a minute, what's the impact on the people? What's going to happen here? I need more information.
Yeah. It's I think my need to like charge through sometimes just makes it so that I don't even process the change, which we will talk about today.
Yeah.
All
Stacy said
right.
the only constant is change. That is so true.
That's so true. So cautious but curious a lot. And I love the resistant at first. Nobody's overwhelmed by change. Interesting. Or that's not your first maybe reaction. Yeah, so cautious but curious, I think it tracks, right? That we all want to know a little bit more, but what is this change? What might it bring? Thanks, everybody. All right, let's go to the next. So change versus transition is really important to identify. I think we use these words synonymously, and that is not true in the way that we're going to talk about it. So change is something that is external, situational, and it is also, as Carol can speak to too, it is also time bound. It is something that happens. It's the moment you find out there's going to be a change. Anything you want to add to
And
that, Carol?
no, just literally, if you can think about the moment you received the information or made the decision that change will happen, that something's going to be different.
Right,
That's the change right there.
right. So I got a change when I got this job at HLG years ago and started, right? That was the moment I found out I was going to work here. That was the change. The transition is all of the internal, emotional, psychological, even the work, all the things that go into me figuring out a new job and making new relationships and figuring out what to do and how to work from home. There were millions of transitions that happened in that because of that change.
It's influenced by the thing you say or think or feel about the change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's all of that emotional, your internal narrative, your story about the information of the change.
Mm-hmm. And so the transitions matter, focusing on all of the work of the transition, because that's where sustainable change comes in. That's where the change that has been declared, the work that goes into making sure that change is bears the fruit that you're wanting it to have. Okay.
Good.
So, how do you know you are in a transition? In the chat, if you have any, what does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? How do
You can
you
just even,
know
yeah,
that
you can
you
even,
are in a transition?
yeah, and you can think of a moment where you heard something was going to change that
Mm-hmm,
you didn't have a choice of. It just,
mm-hmm,
you got the information. And what was your initial experience of that? And what did you do with it shortly after?
mm-hmm. Carol, what do you do when you know you're in the transition? Change has been announced.
I tend to kind of not actually recognize the significance of the change. I'm a slow to process,
Mm,
uh, like sometimes really slow.
mm,
Like I get it, and maybe I go into a bit of a protective state, so I stay practical for a while, and I'm a little bit detached, and then I finally start feeling the implications.
mhm. Okay.
Sometimes months later,
Okay. So a
not
little
like not like
slow.
minutes later.
Okay. Months later. All right. So that's really good to know about yourself and name for people who might be transitioning with you. We got lots here happening. So, tense, uncertain, a sinking feeling 24/7. Ethan, it is life. That is the truth. Oh,
Oh, I
mama
love that I
bear
start
mode.
cleaning my closets.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. The
I'll get
mama bear
putting things in
mode.
order. I'll do that too. I'll be easily distracted. I've got
Yep.
to go sort and reorganize and prepare, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Disoriented, looking to reground. So that even goes back to that organizing. Things about how the future will look. There you go, Marcus. That's that seven energy of what is the
Yeah.
future going to be. Anxiety, think through all the benefits. Pause, internal. Oh, Brandolyn wants to know all the information.
Yeah. Lots of
Hmm.
questions.
Hmm. A lot more one-on-one meetings than usual. Oh, that's a really good, right? So, Alistair, people are
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
reaching out, or you are to connect and discuss. I think that's such a great identifier. Oh, we're in the midst of transition. People are needing to connect and get questions answered. I love that.
Yes, because there's lack of clarity is at play,
Hmm.
right? So there's,
Hmm.
yeah,
If change is constant, then isn't it transition? Yeah. Yeah. So transition is pretty constant in our lives. I think that's really
yeah.
true, Ethan.
But I think it's important to remember that the change is the piece of information in the moment, and all the rest of it is just your experience and response and engagement with the change. That's
Hmm.
the transition
Hmm.
energy,
Hmm.
moving from one place to the next. And you
Yeah.
might be doing that right now in today's world in about 20 different places.
Yep. Yep. Pete, I love this. For me, it's also a function of how resourced I am in the moment. I think that's such a good,
Yeah.
right? As to Carol's point, am I dealing with other changes or transitions because of other changes? And that's already taking my attention. I think our relation, how much influence or control we have over the situation. Have I slept when you give me the news of, right? I think there's so many to know where we're at. I think that's a great self-awareness is so key in this whole
Mhm.
exercise. Something else I can control, even if it's super small. Yeah, Alistair, I was going to say mine is when I notice that I'm either doing it myself, like doing a lot of things or bossing my way into things or trying to control things, that's where I know I must be in some sort of transition.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. So here's the model right here. And he's got three phases identified. The first is ending, losing, and letting go of what was. Then the neutral zone and new beginning. So we'll walk through each of these. And it's important as we do talk about them to talk about how transitions are not, they're non-linear. We're not just like every day, and you all know this, we're not just every day smoothly going from transition to transition, right? We can backslide or we go back and forth as we're working through the transition.
And I'd also point out that in this model, notice he's beginning with what's ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of us we think changes happen and now there's a new beginning, but that's not what's happening
No.
for us internally. And
Yeah.
that's the point of today's conversation.
Right. Yep. So let's start with phase one, which is the ending, losing, and letting go. And so the first is, so the change happens, layoffs, rebranding, leadership changes. These can be great things too. Promotions. It can be getting married. It could be buying a house. It can be anything that is change. And now but what was is no longer there. So you're married today. Yesterday you weren't. You have this new promotion. Yesterday you didn't. Um, and so that letting go part is to kind of is the knowledge that what was is now not to be. And so we can see what happens is it can be resistance, grief, It can even be relief. Oh, I wanted this change to happen, but still it's unknown. So the uncertainty and this letting go period is, I think, the real trick of this letting go. And as Carol named, we will want to move to the new beginning really quickly. But what needs to be tended to in this letting go phase?
You
Um,
know, in our professional life, we are very much encouraged to fix and solve
yeah.
as quickly as possible. So there is a tendency to want to jump from here pretty quickly instead of slowing down and considering what's really going on for me and for those around me as this transition unfolds.
Mhm, mhm. And as leaders, how do we help our teams or the people around us acknowledge that there has been loss? Even again, in a positive change, there is loss of something. How do we honor what has been, right? We don't discredit everything that came before, the work, the people, everything. And how do we allow ourselves and the people around us to sit with what's happening here? Because I do like to jump. I like to jump real fast. And so this is a challenge to stay in this spot.
And
Anything?
by the way, if you were the one that got to decide the change, you've already moved through this.
That's right.
So you have to slow down enough to make room for others to go through their own process and
Yeah,
at
that's
least
such a good
name it. At least have, you know, be able to have some space for it.
right. All right, so let's do a little chat. So when it comes to letting go, so this first stage for you, what do you notice about yourself during workplace changes? Processing the liminal space is an intentional act that I have as a life goal. Kelly, that's
Yeah. I think I get emotionally detached initially.
right when you know you need to let go of something.
Yeah, I think at first I go into sort of a removed state of practicality and then, like I was saying earlier, and then the emotional response will come later. I
Mm-hmm.
tend to jump pretty quickly to all the positive, potentially positive sides of it, even if it's hard news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Carol's jumping to the positive, what can be. I probably just jump to doing things. So I don't know that I spend very much time in this spot. So this is
Mm.
a growing edge for me, I think is probably the case actually. Facts and disengage from emotion. Yeah. Logic to override anxiety. Mm-hmm. Skeptical unless I was part of the decision making. Yeah. Yeah, Steph, I think that's this is a great thing for us as individual leaders and for our own leaders. You get frustrated when those who made the decision don't acknowledge that others still need to be in the letting go.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's so true. And we'll talk about that. That's a great setup for our next call, which will be about this kind of dip that happens in the order of how close you are to the authority of making the change, how much time you need to process what's happening.
You know, I've been in this field for like 30 years now, and this one issue of leadership making decisions and implementing them, want everybody to be on board quickly,
Yeah.
and the frustration, sort of the discounting of the personal impact,
Yeah.
uh, is still alive and well. It's still a growing edge in general for most leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we know it, even though so many leaders are so much more aware now, there's just not enough time to bring people along.
Yeah. And that people have a different reaction to change than you do. So recognizing that that is the way they are letting go is not the same way I'm. So Sam just typed it in here and, it's a
Yeah.
5. She goes to facts and she wants details and information.
We're talking about the Enneagram
Yeah.
numbers,
Yes.
by the way, for
Yeah.
those
Sorry.
of
That
you
was,
who
yeah.
don't know.
They've heard it. Yeah, we always dump those in here during these calls. But
Yeah.
and so Sam says in here she likes to go to facts and she kind of separates from emotion a little bit. Whereas I might want to process emotions a lot. And that's both of us dealing with letting go, but in really different ways. And so how do we have space for both of us showing up, letting go, but doing so in very different ways? And how do we know that that's what's happening? Kind of speaking different languages, but saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, Vi, too, for just the reminder that change is constant
It,
and
yeah, it
emotions
is.
are there. Try to understand it and embrace it. Yeah.
Mhm. So next we get to so we're letting go and begin again, not linear, but generally, then we move into this neutral zone. And this is another place where people don't spend enough time. And he calls this the messy middle. So this is the change has been announced. We're letting go of what was, but we don't have clarity about what is going to be. And so we're in this middle stage where there's confusion and maybe unrest, and it's a chance for experimentation and innovation and creativity. And if we stay open during this time, new ideas emerge. And not just new ideas that we never even knew were possible can happen during this time. Carol, anything to add to this neutral zone?
Um, just that I think it's easy to collapse to think you're staying in the neutral zone when really you've maybe moved on. So there's a little bit of, we'll talk about that in a minute. But then I was also just thinking about how I think a lot of people feel like they're in the messy middle all day long right
All
now.
day long.
And it's exhausting to a certain degree because there's so much of it at play in a lot of workplaces in the moment. And so that desire to get out of it is even stronger.
Mm-hmm. When again, some people might be really energized by the new ideas and possibility and living in that. And other
Right.
people might be like, okay, but we can't do all of that. So how are we
Yeah.
navigating this together?
I think sometimes if I think about the changes that have occurred to me that have been difficult or traumatic and I didn't choose them, something happened, the the thing that I forget each time is that in this neutral zone, the truly unexpected happened. Like the things that you never could have made up or invented or had no access to in terms of new ways of doing things get born in this neutral zone. If you, again, create the space for it, if you're listening to and paying attention what wants to happen next, not what do I might force to do quickly to get out of this discomfort.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, really powerful. And I think as leaders during this time, our own self management, our own awareness of our responses to this mess, this transition, communicating what we can without having the full answer. I think some leaders are really nervous to say, I have some answers, but not all the answers. So, how do you communicate with clarity there? All of this, I think, is really important as leaders.
One of the biggest pitfalls we see in leaders is that thing, just what Courtney said, is you think you're supposed to have the answer. And how much great modeling you can do to say, I don't know yet. I want you to know I'm consciously paying attention. I'm waiting to pay attention to what's needed next, but I don't have those answers. And we are going to learn how to be uncomfortable with that and have that be okay while we discover what's needed next.
It's so powerful, I think, when a leader says that. I do. Not that they have no answers ever, but they don't have an answer about this is a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the chat, what does the messy middle look like for you? Look like, sound like, feel like. What does this feel like for you? Carol, what does this feel like for you?
I think it feels like most of my work days right now.
I was, yeah.
There's so many things changing. I mean, my role changed this year.
Yeah.
There's new demands and different things being asked of us by our
Yeah.
clients. All of our clients are going through some level of upheaval right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like all day long, it's just like, okay, this is what's in front of me right now. I'm going to address this. Just don't get too worked up about it. Don't make too many assumptions about next week or next month, just like right now. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think for the most part, I have a high degree of comfort in the messiness. So
Yeah.
maybe I do.
Well, Anne just posted that too. She thinks she likes to get to this part. This is where she thinks she does well. And
Yeah.
I kind of think so. I feel like I don't, I'm having a hard time articulating what it's like for me because maybe my whole life is the messy middle. I got to think about
Yeah.
this a little bit. Because I am fine here too. Certainty is not like a high need for me. which again, then as a leader, it is a high need for lots of people. And so
Yeah.
how do I hold both of those to be true?
Yeah.
And as a teammate, even as a colleague, how do I hold that somebody else might need more clarity than I need? But Alistair says it's really exhausting. So
Yeah.
exactly, how would we communicate about that, Alistair, to say, whoa, this is exhausting, exciting for me and exhausting
Yeah.
for you.
And
And both are
again,
true.
it's again, especially if you're at the effect of it,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
are not the things you decided or that you wanted. It's just that things keep coming at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think no naming that it's going to be messy, just,
Yeah.
Latasha on our team always says, name a thing, a thing. So,
Right.
right. Oh, it's messy, guys, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, oh, we feel like you're operating in slow motion, Kelly. That is so interesting because I feel like I work at hyper speed during this time. So
Yeah.
again, that would be interesting for us to figure out how to navigate together if we were partnering.
I like John's ambiguity is kind of fun as long as it stays clear of chaos. There is a difference, isn't there? That's great.
That is so funny.
Yeah. The
Interesting.
drain, this is what I think we're seeing a lot
Yeah.
from the people we work with
Yeah.
is the drain of this messy middle as
Yes.
so many really significant, massive changes have taken place inside of so many of the organizations we're currently serving. It's exhausting.
Yeah. I appreciate you all naming that. That's great
Yeah.
clarity. Yeah. And what it does that if I'm in the messy middle at
Yeah.
work, then what does that do to your personal life? What does that do at home?
Yeah. I
Um,
like that in the middle of the oceans and the need to get to the shore.
oh, yes.
Courtney is one of those cold water plungers and out there in the Puget Sound,
Guys,
so
I think there was a
I
whale
appreciate
with me
that.
this morning. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's a little scary. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna meditate on that, Cassandra, tomorrow morning on my plunge. Um, okay, thanks everybody. So then phase three, which again, people are trying to get here, and our invitation is how do you spend a little more time in the other two? But this is
You
when
know,
go ahead.
let me just say, see, if you spend time in those first two places, naming what's ending, how you feel about it, the implications of it, the impact. If you spend time in that neutral zone, listening for what really wants to emerge, how do you want to engage with this change? How do you want to support the people around you? If you're really just thinking through and experimenting and innovating, um, the new beginning may look entirely different than it would have if you had just jumped right into it. That's where we get those short-term fixes that fail, or we bypass really critical learning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back
Mm-hmm.
over to you, Courtney.
No, this is pretty important, Carol.
Yeah.
Um, so, so this is where the adoption of the new strategy or structure, hopefully something that has emerged to you that feels invigorating and important and lasting. New relationships are going to come from this, whatever the transition has happened, new teams. There's kind of an acceptance now because we've done the work to navigate these other stages. There's can be energy because now we have some answers that we've been searching for, even new identity of self, of team, of the organization. And so, and as leaders, we have celebrate milestones here. I would also add that in general, you want to be naming milestones throughout this whole process. And to say, like, we did it, we found out, this is what we're going to be doing next is also very exciting. And then all the way through, and here you want to be reinforcing the vision. Here is the direction we're going, and we may be circuitously getting there. And here's our vision, and hold on to this as we do this work. Carol, anything? Okay. So, what helps you embrace a new beginning? I think I'm always kind of excited to start anything new. Yeah, I have enough.
I think I need to know the reason or
Oh,
the sense of purpose
yeah. Marcus just said a
and
clear vision.
yeah, and what's
Mhm,
possible because of the
mhm.
change. Why,
Mm-hmm.
What difference will this make?
Yeah, tequila.
Tequila. That's great. That's funny.
Justina used to be my boss, and I can confirm.
Yeah. The power of
Yeah.
reframing. Yeah, that's setting the new context. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Removal of another obligation. Okay. Ethan, that is such a good, right? That if I know this new thing is happening and I get to let go of this, I'm much more likely to be able to put kind of my heart, soul, and energy
Right.
into it. And so often, I think what we're seeing right now is there's a new beginning and
Yeah.
all of this needs to be taken care of too. So I think
I,
that's such good, that's important.
yeah. And Brandon Lynn's understanding my place in it and why
Yeah.
that place is positive. I mean, I think that's one of the first, instinctively, it's one of the first places we go is what is the impact on me? What's my part in this? Do I have a part in it?
Yep.
A place in it? And how can I contribute to the success of it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. These are
Breathing,
really
focus.
beautiful, you guys. More, more, more. Not enough time spent
Yeah,
removing
that's good
ineffective.
stuff.
Yeah. 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 These are really beautiful thoughts. Fran, I'm the same. The beginnings are easy for me. Like the initial beginning. And then I think I go, wait, what? So I appreciate
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, I think that in my org, it's more, not enough time spent on
Yeah.
removing ineffective, efficient work. That's kind of pointing to the not why this change. We're just making things chaotic and messing with clarity once again, or we've done this before. We can get cynical and resigned and overwhelmed. So I think you're pointing to really the need not only for those leaders who implemented the change to provide some of that, but also the right you have to ask those questions
Yeah.
to get you further along into the new reality.
Yeah. Ooh, people underestimate the cost of maintenance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding.
All true.
I just think of some of the changes when, in our small firm I mean, just the amount of chaos and disruption it causes, the system breaks down, the efficiency breaks down in the middle of those changes. And we've gone through a few of those already this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just, we feel like we're scrambling a bit and we have to work to get regrounded in the throes of those changes. Then
Mm-hmm.
there's other changes like, yay, this is going to be so much easier. And we're super excited and we're like, can't wait till it's implemented.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Lovely. Thank you, everybody. All right. So, next slide, Sam. Oh, he would already change. Which phase is the hardest to lead others through, do you think? The middle, Kelly says.
I think for me, it depends on what the change
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
the significance
Yeah.
of the change.
Yeah. I know that neutral zone that it's called, it's not very neutral. So I like the messy middle a little bit better because I think it's actually more articulates more accurately what it really
Yeah.
is. So the messy middle people are saying here.
I would
Depends on
have
the
to agree
situation.
with that in terms of leading others through it because
Yeah.
there needs to be a high sensitivity to where
Yeah.
each person's at in the
Yeah.
process and how and it's hard to do if you have a very large team. We don't have that, but for large organizations, it's tough.
Well, I would say we're very small and we all process the messy middle differently.
Right.
So imagine, right, if it were, yeah. So just something for you to name for yourself, for your leaders as you're discussing with them. Or just, oh yeah, and down here, getting them over the initial fear that change is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I've noticed a lot in today's world too. Even before a change has been announced, there's rumors, there's stories, there's speculation because of external factors, an anticipation
Mhm.
that is triggering a lot of fear and concern before there's even any data
Yeah.
released about it. So
Yeah.
even managing, sometimes people are moving along through this process with an anticipated change, not even a declared one yet.
Right. Yeah, I think Pete makes a good point too that some folks struggle more in this middle with the ambiguity, and then their anxiousness can be contagious, right? Which again, is why clarity, naming, reinforcing vision, at least directional clarity, or how important people are to the members of the team, can be really powerful.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a poll here. Where do you see your team or organization right now? In the ending or letting go phase, the neutral zone, the new beginning, or that's a trick question. You're in all three at the same time all the time. Let's see. I think we're in all three. What do you think, Carol?
I do. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we're in a, I feel like we're kind of hanging out a lot in the neutral zone
I think
this
so
year.
too. I think so too.
But
There's a lot of new beginnings too. I feel there's some, and maybe that's
yeah,
also our team orientation is very
we're,
excited about the future. We tend to be pretty
yeah,
oriented that way.
yeah, no kidding. If things get too calm, we'll create some new beginnings.
I have noticed this. Yes. I know, I know that I'm the problem. Some of that, so I'm gonna name that.
Oh
But
my.
yeah. Okay.
That's been our learning edge all year is like no structure and process. Let what's already emerged settle in before we jump to the next
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
I think for leaders, all of you might be at the effect of leaders who jump too quickly into the next shiny thing instead of really grounding the right structures and strategies of the new beginning first.
Yes. So as we can see, lots of some neutral zone, a little bit, only one person saying the ending and letting go, but lots of folks are in lots of different areas at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, to Ethan's point earlier, part of the reason it feels so exhausting is that it's not just one messy middle you're trying to navigate through. It's multiple stages. So yeah, we just want to honor that we see that and we know it's true and the work and energy it takes for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So some practical tips for leaders or for you as individuals is communicate continuously. So again, to Carol's point, clarity beats silence. So even if the clarity is, I don't know yet.
I just want to underline this one because if you're the person implementing or managing the change, whether you chose it or not, you need to remember that it is okay to repeat yourself over and over and over again because people let in different layers of the change in different ways over time. And that over communicating message is critical,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in a time of confusion or uncertainty.
Yeah.
And when people are looking for it, their questions are going to come in different waves at different times and different reasons.
That's a really good point. How often we've heard people say like, but I said that or I told people that
Yeah.
and how to
And say it in
communicate.
every way you
Yeah, there
can.
you go.
Write it,
Written.
speak it,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
a video,
Yeah. Yeah.
as many different ways as you
Yeah.
can think of.
Yep. Agreed. Acknowledge emotions and losses. So again, naming a thing. Just
Yeah,
because
that's
maybe you've processed it or somebody else on the team has processed it does not mean that somebody else hasn't, or the implication of the loss felt differently. Not everyone is impacted the same way at the same pace.
yeah.
Identify
Uh,
what people are losing, right? Status, routines, identity, all sorts of things. Fear closes ears, John just said. That's a good one, John. Uh,
yeah, and Anne's comment too that it keeps us from being able to hear everything. The
yeah,
fear does. So
yeah,
that's why that
yeah,
people hear things in different ways over
yeah.
time as they're moving through a
Mhm,
transition, a significant transition.
mhm, yep. Mark milestones and honor the past. I think too, we can be really dismissive of the work, the ideas, the energy that people already did to get us to where we are now in our effort to say, but it's going to be so much better, or it's going to be so much, whatever, we want to make it. We don't, you have to recognize and acknowledge the work and the gifts of the people who have come before. I think it can feel so dismissive to people.
Hmm.
Um, and expect lower productivity and plan for it. And Ethan, if only. And that's come back next time. We'll talk about that a little bit, but that really does happen during times of change and transition.
Like Ethan says, if only my
I
boss would
know.
plan for lower
I know.
productivity. Um, for whatever way, especially in the US, we are just not wired that way. And it's a mistake because
Yep.
human nature, we just do, productivity does go down, and it is best to plan for that.
Yep. Yep. And then encourage reflection and reinforce community. Kelly mentioned earlier that processing with her colleagues is one way that she feels like she can engage in a new beginning, is to like really lean into that community. I resonate with that a lot. So, encourage, actual
Yeah,
community, not just,
yeah,
water cooler,
right.
actual community.
That's what I was going to say. I
Yeah.
just be careful not to collapse like
Yes.
charisma rating and complaining and
Hmm.
gossiping and
Hmm.
uh, I mean, there's got to be space for that, but do that with the people aren't going to go cause damage with it. Just you have to that part of your self process. It's more creating like this is hard and what might be possible conversations with the people that you work with.
Yeah. Yep. So take some takeaways from today. Change is external. It's that moment. The transition is all this internal work that happens. Leaders support others through these three stages, and that we need time, attention, and empathy to get us through these things. Your homework is to share this model with somebody on your team, uh, with a leader if you are interested. Name where you are at together. Could be an interesting exercise.
And for those of you who don't know, William Bridges' work is classic. It's been around for a
Yep.
long time, and he has a number of books out that are easy to read. This is
Yes.
actually a pretty deep body of work
Yep.
if you want to get into it. We've kind of given you an appetizer. So I would highly recommend if you're in the throes of it, even for your own personal change
Mm-hmm.
or something's going on in your organization, his books are an excellent resource.
Yeah. Sam just
Yeah.
put some links in the chat for you. And all right. So as we're wrapping up with 1 minute to go, one word to capture your learning from today. But we don't sticky with rules. So whatever you want to say about capturing your learning from today before you head off. Let's see. I always give this assignment and then I'm terrible at it. One word.
Reflective.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Let's see. Patience, nonlinear. Sam got a hyphen it, so that counts. Affirming, awareness, needed, honoring. I love honoring. Reflective,
Loss.
loss, acceptance, appreciation, understanding, realization.
Good to see you here today, Alistair, Ellie.
Yeah. Awareness. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here again. It's so good to see names pop up and see familiar names
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Come back next month. We'll talk about change again in a new way, a new lens. And we look forward to more conversations.
yeah. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Have a great weekend.